Best of R / Tales from Tech Support episode 53. Hello there TFTS. This story might not 100% be TFTS, but also a bit of Tales from Retail. But here we go. So I work for a large electronic retail store. I also regularly do service. We have $me and Canadian dollars for customer. The store chain doesn't do in-house repairs. We have a third-party repair company and everything gets sent to them. But before we send something without thinking about it, we try to fix simple issues ourselves at the service desk. So Canadian dollars comes in on a normal day. Decently busy but nothing out of the ordinary. $me. Good day. How may I be of service? Canadian dollars. Good day. So I bought this laptop a few days ago from you. Drops laptop and purchase recipe on the desk. I see he got it 2 days ago. I also see a big red sticker on it saying I have been opened. These are added when a product had been returned after being used. They get a discount. But I wanted to charge it, but I think the wrong charger cable is in it. Might it have to do with the sticker? I was already quite suspicious of what he might have done wrong. But nonetheless I opened the box to find the laptop. And a little cardboard box on the side containing the cable. $me whilst opening the cable box. So here is cable part 1. And here is cable part 2. Canadian dollars. Oh, it has 2 parts. Well, that was an easy fix. People sometimes forget laptop charger have 2 parts for interchangeable wall socket plugs. Oh well, I still love this job and will stay here for a while. Thank you. Next. This was around 2002. Internet was still something not everyone had at home, and if they had, it was most often very slow. Some people didn't have computers and almost none had smartphones, those with a flip-out keyboard and stylus pen. I was still in school and usually went to the local library with a bunch of floppies to download some MP3s and play some flash games before I went home. As I was sitting there filling up my floppies with music, a woman in her 40s sitting next to me asked me for help. I was just reading my email and now only half of them are readable. I thought she had deleted them or that they got corrupted somehow. So I told her to check the trash on the Hotmail website. I still only see half of them, she said, and asked me to look. When I looked at her screen, she had pulled the window halfway off the screen. I quickly helped her to pull the window back to the center of the screen and she was incredibly happy and thanked me a lot. She had no idea that the windows in Windows could be moved around. Thank you. Next. Several years ago, I worked in a warehouse that had an office section. Don't worry, the IT cometh. I've always enjoyed computers/electronics, so I've dabbled a bit. More than anything, I like helping people and I have been accused, never convicted, of being a good troubleshooter. So when the head IT lady of the establishment needed a hand, or was willing to part with some wisdom, I was there. Win-win. I get to help someone, and if I listened carefully I could learn about all kinds of computer issues. As many here would attest, you learn more from mistakes than you do from a 100% reliable, secure, trouble-free system. You probably will have far less hair, but more knowledge. Back to the tale. One week we were having a new debit system installed, and as with anything new, there were of course growing pains. The aforementioned lady of IT had been having a very harrowing week. I doubt she had slept more than 4 hours a night through the entire ordeal, and it showed. On the day the story took place, the warehouse side was kind of slow, so I made any excuse I could to go back to the office area to see if I could help. Hey, that sign is very old. Let me go back and whip up a new one on Microsoft Word. I'll be back. As soon as I entered the office area, I could tell something was off. IT lady looked frazzled beyond belief, and she was nearly swearing at the inanimate copier. Not wanting the lady's torment to go on any further, I of course, offered a hand. When I asked what the problem was, she replied that she could not get the copier to make the copies look like the original. To troubleshoot, I asked for one of the pages she was trying to duplicate. She popped open the 3-ring binder, removed the page and handed it over. I placed the paper on the scanner portion, and after some tweaking of the settings, hit the copy button. A moment later, out comes the page. I hold it up and she exclaims, "See? The copies don't have the holes like the original." If you are IT, and personally sleep deprived, it may take a moment. The moral of the story? No matter how difficult it may seem, or how harrowing a new project gets, Get as much of your recommended sleep as possible. Thank you. Next. Same old call center. Same old cheap leadership. This happened approximately a year in. Leadership had been talking since I started about moving the company. I treated it the same way like you do your parents talking about building a new house. Yeah, whatever, Dad. Oh, look. There's a giant hole in the ground. I guess that's happening. It was all talk. Nothing serious, just repeating that they were thinking of moving. And we're all still crazy busy keeping the ship afloat enough so we could go home at the end of each day. No time to do anything about prepping for something that's not going to happen. Workstations on fire, users needing support, managers needing clubbing. You know, the usual. So one bright and shiny Thursday afternoon, our department was called into a management meeting. No warning, no idea what's going on. Once we all show up, all three of us. Here's the conversation. Keep in mind, I'm the most junior in the group. Neither of the others spoke up. CEO, we've decided we're going to move the company. Your help will be instrumental in making it go smoothly. Can you do it? Me, sure, that can be done. We're really busy as is, so it's gonna take some time to come up with a plan on how to make it happen. What's the timeline? CEO, this is your highest priority. We want everyone to be able to just get up from their desks, walk over to the new location, sit down, and everything should work. Me, that makes it more complicated. That's also going to take a lot longer. When are we wanting to move? CEO, it can't be that bad. Think you can have it done by the beginning of the month? Note, this was a Thursday. The beginning of the next month was Monday. Me, no way, no how. A single day to do this isn't going to cut it in any sense. We'll need way longer. CEO, you can work the weekend. We'll figure out overtime and stuff afterwards. Me, 3 days is still not nearly enough time. Not gonna happen. CEO, okay, but it has to happen fast. We can't let the landlord know we're moving. Some additional background. Our management was paranoid. We're a call center, but our business practices, call lists, and clients were all top secret. Anybody found that out, the company was done, in their mind. That paranoia extended into other aspects. There'd been a long-running dispute going on with the landlord in the current place. I don't know all the details, but something about air quality, withholding rent, lawyers, etc. Management was scared that one day the landlords would just lock us out and then we were done. This comes into play later. Me, it can't be fast. We need a lot of help. CEO, we can't afford to hire anyone else. Why are you still standing here? Go get it done. The three of us file out of the boardroom, trying to wrap our heads around what we have to do to even begin this. It was so unreal. Use a plug and play. No downtime on their end. Stop. Get up. Walk. Sit down. Go. Okay. We'll need to duplicate our infrastructure. With what hardware? One of us asks. Good point. We have a single spare server on a good day. This was not a good day. Where are we even moving to? We didn't even have a target location yet. We require management next week after we start getting an idea of what we have to do. A day's not much, other than to look at a rough task list and weep. Me, are you sure we can't have any downtime? It'd be the simplest method. Them, absolutely not. Me, we could use a few more servers to duplicate what we have. Them, there's no money for more hardware. Make it happen. Me, where, exactly, are we moving to? Them, we'll get back to you. Great. Requirements suck. Stakeholders are unreasonable, and the timeline doesn't exist. Par for the course. I'm not getting paid enough for this. Also par for the course. With enough time, we managed to squint real hard, figure out what servers were non-critical, spoiler, none, and offload their work onto others to do double, or triple, duty. Finance server, sorry, you're not special anymore. We now have enough hardware to at least get a ghost of the infrastructure set up elsewhere. If we don't mind overloading them all and hoping none die. No other way, really. In the middle of the shoveling of tasks onto already overloaded servers, we learn where we're moving to. A few blocks away. Not bad. Just a short walk. With the good news comes some bad. We have to keep everything running here. while standing up the new location. No downtime will be tolerated. To be continued. Thank you. Next. Long time listener, first time caller. Please be nice. TLDR. Desktop deployment vendor calls in to ask how to install RAM. Used to work tier 1 over the phone support at $Force Bank that spans across a few states, so we obviously cannot do desktop deployment ourselves. Normally we have a vendor that does the deployment for us, and there was a vendor support line they can call for assistance. Due to infrastructure changes, it was now desktop support's job to assist these vendors. Cue this call. Me. Thank you for calling help desk. How can I help? Vendor, hi, I'm deploying a laptop and there is one of those stick things came with the laptop. What should I do with it? Me, a little confused. What do you mean a stick thing? Vendor, one of those memory things. Me finally gets it. Oh, you mean you have a stick of RAM that came with the laptop. Just go ahead and install it and deploy the laptop. Vendor, okay, how do I do that? Me, a little dumbfounded. You unscrew the back and stick it into the RAM slot. Vendor, okay, I'll probably need a screwdriver for that, right? Me, yes, you will need a screwdriver. Vendor, okay, I'll go see if I have one. I'll call back if anything come up. Click. Walk over to my team, led in disbelief. Me, so I just had our vendor call and ask how to install RAM. What should I tell him if he calls back? Tier 2 team lead sits next to my lead. You should tell him to get a new job. I found out later he called back about 3 more times to ask questions that were arguably dumber than mine. Needless to say, he became a frequent flyer that everyone hated to answer calls from. Thank you. Next. So for a little background, I have been in IT about 10 years, working my way up from end user help desk to cloud infrastructure support and automation. This only happened about a year ago, well into the IT era when most people are used to typing on a keyboard. At the time I worked for a fairly large company in the US that had call centers across the country working 24/7. The general help desk team were all non-salaried employees, so our team, the salaried second level infrastructure team, had to cover an on-call rotation to receive calls at any point for whatever issues arose. Sometimes these were actual issues with applications, but most of the time it was somebody who had forgotten their password. At 2 a.m. in the morning. The following is a real example of a call that I received at least twice from 2 different individuals on 2 different occasions. For whatever reason, both at 2 a.m. in the morning. Phone rings in the middle of the night, waking me up, so I grab it quickly not to wake the wife unit and bebop to turn my computer on, getting ready to help $customer. Me. Hello, this is Thecaped Critic from IT. How can I help? Caller. Yes, I'm having trouble logging into my computer. Can you reset my password for me? Me. Not a problem, give me a minute. Time passes while I reset user's Windows password. Okay, your new password is capital PRSSWORD ! It will have you reset your password once you log in with it. Caller. Okay. What is an exclamation point? Me. Stunned silence while my sleep-deprived brain tries to comprehend what I just heard. Hold shift and press 1. Caller. Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm in. Have a good night. Me. You too. Click. TL. Doctor. User was unaware of what an exclamation point was. Instead I had to explain where on the keyboard it was. Thank you. Next. TL. Doctor. I'm firing insecure vendors while trying to hide in a large flailing push it all to the cloud project. Part 1. Part 2. Part 3. Part 4. Part 5. TL. Doctor, I'm telling bad vendors that they are bad while billing at an ill-considered cloud transformation project. I'm somewhere between useful and useless in the dictionary. My boss has given me the warning to be more professional. I'm lying on a scratchy bedspread. And my phone rings. It's Bethifa, from recently fired vendor 1, a big data healthcare analytics company that's too smart to secure healthcare data like a grown-up. I think she's been drinking. Bethifa. I just talked to our project sponsor. They won't intervene. We're getting fired. Me. Well, I'd like to say that I'm sorry. Bethifa. Crying. That doesn't help. We'll have to disclose the loss of our biggest client to our investors. Me. Well, that sounds unpleasant. Bethifa. You don't understand. I was going to exercise my options and never have to work again. Me. Now you'll just have to find another job. Bethifer, could you not tell them until the next round of financing goes through? Me, I'll consider it. Bethifer, really? Me, sure. Then again, I've also considered setting myself on fire. I get it, you're a scrappy startup trying to keep momentum, so anything that takes resources from product. That's okay when you're putting the money of willing investors at risk, not the trust of unwilling patients. You made poor choices. Bethifer, you're an asshole. Click. Me, talking to the hotel room. You're not wrong. I walk over to the chain restaurant because it doesn't require getting in another fine car. I know this is a drinking night. Somehow I get the same chirpy waitron from earlier. I apologize for being me, order food and beer and read an unrelated book. For some odd reason, Chirpy the waitron is interested in me. They sit down in the seat opposite me. Chirpy, I saw you yesterday with a book. Are you here for business? What do you do? Me, I'm in technology. Chirpy, really? I have to choose a major this year. Do you recommend going into your field? Me, if you have a strong stomach. Chirpy, how so? Me, I'm like the USDA inspector in technology. I don't raise the cows, I don't slaughter them or drive them to the market. I just make sure that there's not an unacceptable level of fecal bacteria in the ground beef. I point to my half-eaten hamburger. Chirpy looks concerned and scuttles off. I leave in good stead without drinking all the booze and walk back to my hotel. I have an early morning call with a few of the client's IT operations teams where we're going to talk about backups. Of course, pretty much everybody is remote. There's nothing as silly as traveling to the client site to use their conference rooms instead of my home office. The first half of the meeting is the usual status reports and other minutiae. I've noticed that there's something that doesn't make sense to me. None of the steps in the shove things into the cloud mention validating backups. There's a saying among older motorcyclists there are two kinds of bikers, those who haven't gone down and those who will go down. For backup administrators, it's the same, for we'll find out that they weren't backing up the thing that just went down. So you validate ever so often, every change, once a month, something. There's nothing clear in the documentation, so I ask. Me, when was the last validation for our backups? I hear some murmuring on the line. Beardy sysadmin, we run a validation script. It performs a validation on a test file and logs the success to the system's dashboard. Me, slick. But you don't ever do an eyes on to make sure you're actually backing up the files? Beardy sysadmin, now being annoyed. This already got signed off. Who are you? My internal text lights up. Co-worker who I only know from monthly status calls. Yo, we're good on this. Uploading relevant process docs. I'm about to continue poking Beardy until I realize that I'm that jackass steering the meeting into an iceberg. I shut up. I start reading the process docs Quiarkfmsk sent me. I've already read those. Oh, the script Beardy mentioned is in here. I see Beardy subscribes to the code as documentation school of thought. I let the meeting trundle on, half listening for my name. This script bugs me since it seems they shoved a key in it. Wait, that's not a key. It's a hash. The script checks the hash value of one specific file in the backups. If the file is intact and as expected, the backup is deemed okay. It doesn't actually check if critical data has been correctly copied over. Heck, it doesn't check anything has been copied but that one file. This is the same as if UPS called handing over a clean packing slip attached to an empty box covered with burning dog shit as safe delivery. I wait for a conversational lull and ask a clarifying question from Beardy. Me, hey, sorry to bring this back up, but I'm easily confused. It looks like your script checks one file. Could you pull a small, critical file and check it? Quiarkfmsk, via chat. Shut up. Shut up. We're almost done. Beardy, that's what the script does. I'll send you a meeting invite to discuss in depth. I shut up and accept a meeting invite for a few hours into the future from Beardy. The meeting ends with Quiarkfmsk staring daggers at me. I find my cubicle, read documentation and my email. All the vendors are quiet. I have a quick, lone lunch and get a phone call from Beardy. Beardy, we're trying to pull a file from the backups as you asked, but it's taking more time than we expected. We'll have to postpone the meeting. This isn't good. My phone rings. Bethifer, we got another email from you people. We don't have to return all this data. It's important to our company. Me, Well, you just have to delete all the data you got from us. I don't know what else you have. Bethifer, our lawyers say we don't. Me, are they the same learned colleagues who said that you're not covered by HIPAA? Bethifer, you're trying to put us out of business. Me, no, not trying to put you out of business. We're just trying to protect our customers. My phone buzzes. It's a text from she, my boss. She, call me ASAP. Me, Bethifer, I'm sorry. I can't help you right now. I have to get yelled at by my boss. You may know what that sounds like.